Welcome to episode 39 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Surprise, folks! And you thought this podcast was dead. Well, it's not. We are just going through series 2 of Wacky World of Wrestling. Now, folks, a lot has happened since my last sort of weekly podcasting appearance on December 30th, which was the Golden Bullet Awards edition of Shooting the Breeze, where a couple things happened that has caused some changes here on Wacky World of Wrestling. So, after 14 weeks of sabbatical from the last Wacky World of Wrestling episode, which was a clash of Christmas trees and chainsaws, we now enter a dangerous quiet before the storm, as you might have noticed in the title screen. Now, let me explain a few things that are going to be happening, and let's get our serious hats on for a second. First and foremost, my usual cohort in this particular instance, Sal Cusimano, is no longer going to be on Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling for Series 2. I released Sal Cusimano on December 30th on the Golden Bullet Awards show, then took a month sabbatical from weekly podcasting in January. I intended to only just take a month and then return in February. However, I suffered a severe flu for 3 weeks in February and had to delay and go back to about March. Now, Sal is free to move on to other projects, and he has done so with Match Fixing, which is on the Cedar Bridge Media Network podcast. I wish him the best in his future endeavors, but he and I are no longer going to be doing podcasts on this very show because the name is on the marquee, and we had some creative differences to go forward. And I felt as though before, if things got too much worse because of some past incidents that had happened due to the massive drama that happened on a certain website back in August, I felt as though it was appropriate after what he had displayed. And due to possible things getting worse, I felt that it was a good idea for he and I to go our separate ways. For me to go on as a random Ronin of podcasting, of a walking anomaly of sorts, and, well, like I said, I wish him the best. I had wished the things had worked out better than they had, but unfortunately, circumstances beyond my control and a large amount of executive meddling outside of it forced my hand, and I went, you know what? For my own personal health, which had taken a nosedive in December because of a flu, because of a reaction to some mineral water treatments I was doing for my psoriasis, I felt as though that it was the best idea for both parties involved that I take a step in the direction and do something this time around to change things. I wish him the best of luck with his match fixing show. Obviously, Cedar Ridge Media is doing their part to help him along the way. And, well, we'll see how things go for here. But Sal Cusimano has been officially released by Wacky from of his obligation of being on the podcast of Wacky World of Wrestling. He liked doing the shows, and he was there for 30 episodes. So what happened is I decided to go the series route. This is series 2 of Wacky World of Wrestling, and there's now going to be a major change as far as co-host is concerned. See, we are not going to have a permanent co-host for the first half of 2018 and into the middle of the fall of 2018. Until the end of the year, or until announced, there will be a non-permanent co-host for every episode of Wacky World of Wrestling going forward. This is to prevent some of the issues that had happened with Wacky World of Wrestling when we had to go independent because of, well, Sal getting himself banned from that wrestling site that I'm not mentioning in this situation because they've already had to deal with enough drama as is last year. And I'm going to be as respectable, honest, and honorable in this situation by not dragging them into any more drama any further. I'm going to be as professional about this situation as I can be, and I have been professional thus far. This is the reason why I'm announcing this publicly and reminding people of that, because who would want to sit for 3 hours and 54 minutes of a podcast to just see the end of a podcast to see, well, something surprising happening at the end? But I did that out of respect of the people that were on the Golden Bullet Awards, that I did not want to drag them into any unnecessary drama. Also, none of the people on the Golden Bullet Awards were aware of my plans involving Wacky World of Wrestling. Just wanted to make sure to note that out there. Only 2 people did know, and I'm not going to be talking about them here. Anyway, folks, We're going to have a non-permanent co-host for all of Series 2 until the end of the year when a permanent co-host will be decided upon by myself. The name is on the marquee, and I'm a very particular individual when it comes to co-hosts. So we'll see who gets that spot, but until then, here's our first guest co-host for Wacky World of Wrestling's new era, and it's a familiar face, as he was on one of the only guest shows that we had last year, on the Take a Katana to the Thanksgiving Turkey episode. It's MDS.
Hello. Good evening. Should I preface with a whole Tendo Michi no Iki Subete Sukasadoro Otoko?
Well, if it means Ronin, that means,
Well, it means, but no, it means, walking the heavenly path, the man who rules over all. So, yeah. That would be more appropriate for your site, though. But anyway, yes, my name is Mr. Dr. Sanju, so known as MDS. I'm just here helping out Fred.
Yeah, he's here with us this week, helping out on episode 39 of Wacky World of Wrestling, and I feel like this is a really good start, just a nice, easy start to go off, and then we continue forward. Because that's the thing with me, is that I even named an episode after it. It's time to move forward. I don't like it. I'm not interested in all of the drama that happened last year. The llama was full of people doing all sorts of crazy things. I didn't get involved in any of it because why would I want to deal with all of that nonsense?
Agreed.
For my own health and for my own sanity, which there's very little of.
I know that firsthand. I just know that firsthand.
Do things for my own health, my own sanity, Everything's all good. We're going to have a really fun show tonight because today we are going to be talking about a show that is long overdue for me, Southern Tier Wrestling's Fast Times at Falconer High from February 10th, 2018 from the Falconer Central High School in Falconer, New York. It's a combination of Central and High School. I'm not sure if you have that in Japanese classrooms.
No, I don't. I don't think so. No, yeah, no. Just no. Please enlighten me on the whole Southern Tier Wrestling. What's it about?
Southern Tier Wrestling is a promotion that started in 2016. It's a regional promotion that has just recently purchased its own ring this year, so now they're able to do some very interesting shows without having to rent a ring beforehand. They have a very diverse field of talent. They usually have a Legends Wrestler match, and then they have a large amount of matches involving local talent from the Buffalo, Rochester, and Canadian areas like Ontario, which are up in the north, as well as people from Pennsylvania and Ohio coming in. This card primarily had a talent pool full of Buffalo wrestlers as well as regional Chautauqua County wrestlers on this particular card.
Okay.
To start off with, we have a match that's actually on YouTube. I actually need to put a link in the description and ask the wrestler that hosted the match if it would be okay to post a link on this page. We have Merrick versus A+ Ryan Cassidy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Merrick is a wrestler that recently came back from the Storm Wrestling Academy and is now training over at Grapplers Anonymous, which is the training center for the majority of wrestlers that were on this card. It's based out in Lackawanna, New York, which is a suburb of Buffalo. And, oh my God, these guys are just really, really gotten themselves really good at the professional wrestling.
Okay.
So Merrick is a fundamentally sound wrestler who could be easily mistaken for Randy Orton.
Please tell me that it's without its detractors.
No, it's not. He doesn't have any detractors at this point. He's a solid wrestler. He just has that look, the pre-Randy Orton with hair look.
Oh, okay. I mean, hopefully he doesn't have the whole Randy Orton robotic maneuvers.
No, he's a really solid wrestler.
Okay, perfect.
And then we have Ryan Cassidy, who is just able to get heat at an amazing rate. Which just like he basically did the classic, scream my name thing throughout the entirety of this match. Ryan Cassidy! And I was like, yes, he starts screaming like a Pokemon. I go, Okay, either he thinks he's a Pokemon or
Where's my Master Ball? Where's my Pokeball?
yeah.
I need my Pokemon right now.
So before we get talking into the match itself, let's talk a bit about the venue. It's in Faulkner Central School in the Central School Gymnasium. This is a really, really cool building. You go inside the gymnasium from the back end of the building, and it's this big gymnasium, pretty much a typical, American gymnasium with bleacher seats.
Okay.
These really old wooden bleacher seats from like the 1960s.
If you think that's old, we still have plastic chairs.
So we
yeah.
have these bleacher seats, which are really fantastic. And folks, the ticket prices at this promotion are amazing. 9 matches. You want to know what the general admission price for this show is?
Sure.
$10 general admission.
For floor and bleacher seats.
Yeah.
Or only, right? Full floor and bleacher seats.
General front end VIP is $20. General admission is $10. The bleachers and the chairs, and lower prices for children.
Okay. That's good. Pretty cheap. Pretty cheap for a show, I think.
With 9 matches on it.
Oh, that's actually very cheap.
Yeah.
You get the most bang out of your buck getting $10 just to watch 9 matches. That would be cool.
Yeah, Merrick and Cassidy had an absolutely amazing match to start off opening the show. It was about 10 minutes long. It was a 10-minute time limit on the thing, and it was really solid, with the end coming where Cassidy tries multiple times to go onto the top rope to try and destroy his former tag team partner.
Oh, so these guys have history. Okay.
Yes, these guys got history. I've got regional history. Merrick was his tag team partner, and Cassidy apparently betrayed him and joined Cloudy for one show last time, so now he's officially a heel in this promotion. In all honesty, this was a match that was a really solid opener that delivered to the crowd, and that's just the perfect crowd opener.
Okay.
So next up on the list, which set the crowd up happy, because the next couple of matches were run by heels.
Oh, okay.
So this is basically a mid-tier show where you have a show where the heels win some matches, and this is where one of those shows. A lot of the past shows for Suffer Wrestling had the babyface winning matches, or some of the heels winning matches. This time you have a larger number of heels winning their matches, and then the babyfaces winning in the second half of the show.
Okay.
Starting off with Urza Ellswood with Upton Sinclair versus the Mako.
I'm guessing Ezra Elwood is the heel in this.
Yes.
Okay. So how did it go?
So they start things off with these two individuals going to the ring and ending up, one of them ends up cutting a promo on the rest of the uncultured, uncivilized people of Chautauqua County, because he claims he's from Brooklyn. As if Brooklyn is cultured and civilized. And these two are evil vegan hippies. And the Mako is a literal Mako shark. So these two evil vegan hippies decide to bring a shark cage to the middle of the ring. And for those of you who are wondering if this is accurate, I've got photos on my Twitter page. It's at Fizzpatrick14, showcasing the shark cage in action. So this shark cage actually, I think, was more of an animal cage. It wasn't an actual shark cage. I know which actual shark cages look like. But given the, budget constraints of this promotion, I'm not sure they could actually afford an actual shark unless they bought one at auction in a storage unit or some kind. But anyway.
Well, so basically you're saying that this is what? Damien Sandow meets Shark Boy in an actual shark cage?
No. Urza's more, the ukulele vegan hippie type character. He's not a Damien Sandow.
Okay, so CJ Parker then.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have Shark Boy. Since when have we ever thought that would be good? But okay. I'm not against it yet. How is the whole thing again?
So the match basically lasts a minute long. The manager, Upton Sinclair, ends up getting stuck in the shark cage.
Okay. Oh my. Okay, I just saw the photo. Oh my god. They actually brought it in.
Yes, they brought it into the middle of the ring.
The hell? This is what? This is okay. Okay.
You were
Okay,
not
give me-
you were not expecting random regional Japanese indie insanity to happen in an American promotion, right?
Not at all. I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen worse things, and this is what that is an actual shark cage. My goodness. So basically, Ezra wants to catch the Mako with
Yeah,
a shark cage.
Upton wants to catch the Mako
Mhm.
and release it back into the wild.
That's the story they're going. This is okay. Okay. Sure. Why not?
Mhm.
There's always a place in wrestling for something as comedic as that. So okay.
Mhm.
Why not?
Mhm. Yeah, so we have this, and it was just like the match was a minute long. Then first Mako gets into the shark cage. They force him into the shark cage. Then they celebrate and forget that Mako knows how to open the door. Then he
Well-
traps Upton Sinclair in the cage.
Mhm.
Mako celebrates.
Okay.
Then Urza Ellswood hits his finisher for the 1-2-3. The referee actually does the count with the shark cage and the manager in the middle of the ring.
I have no words. I have no words. We're still having this Carney thing, but this is good Carney wrestling.
Oh yeah,
I already told you that there's a time and place for comedic wrestling, and I don't really want this one. What the heck are these guys? I do hope that it's as interesting and as hilarious as it is. So
oh, it was hysterical. It was a great comedy segment to continue on with the show. Next up on the list, the Soprano theme hits, which enters the theme of the Don, Rob Sweet, with his lovable manager, Super Beast. And I say that sarcastically because Super Beast was probably the second most hated person on this entire card.
okay. Okay, go ahead.
He begins to scream and start talking about the Italian national anthem.
Okay. Okay. Just okay.
Yeah, Rob Sweet is playing this heavily Italian-based gimmick where Super Beast is screaming, "Forever! Forever!"
Okay.
Yeah.
This is getting weirder and weirder going down the
Well, they're basically playing up the natural animosity between the Swedes and the Italians in the area. There's been a natural animosity between these two since the Rust Belt hit in the 1960s.
Okay. Fair enough. Understandable then.
His opponent is Cyclone Jones. And Cyclone was really enjoyable in this whole matchup. And what happened here is that Rob is playing your stereotypical cowardly heel, and you have Cyclone Jones, who is a powerful babyface. And this match was a really solid contest, probably the best outing that I've seen Cyclone Jones compete in. He basically sort of has an athletic sportsman's gimmick, whereas the Dom Rob Sweet is basically a stereotypical 1970s Italian wrestler. But it's a good stereotype. It's a good, you have a manager who's screaming at people on the outside, and Super Beast is humongous. And then there was the finish. Cyclone Jones attempts to get the finisher on Rob Sweet, and then gets interrupted by another individual. Another stereotype of Italians, the landlord. That's his actual name, the landlord. This guy runs into the ring, interferes with Jones, and then Rob Sweet gets the pin on Cyclone. So now Rob Sweet now has 3 managers, Super Beast, two managers actually, Super Beast and this landlord fella, who are all incredibly hateable. The crowd hated them. They booed them out of the building. And it was a very enjoyable match to continue off with the card. Match number 4 on our list. And you're going to like this one, MDS.
Okay. What is it? I know that you muted my mic, but I was laughing so hard just on the whole last thing, and I just saw Rob Sweet's face. My goodness, he does play the whole what Italian gimmick pretty well. He does play the part,
Mm-hmm.
and now he has two managers. Great.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is a landlord. What is he gonna do? Collect
Yes,
collect
collect the
your
rent.
monthly fee. Collect the monthly rent that you don't owe.
Yes.
If you owe him, he's gonna beat you down, sure.
Yep.
But okay, tell me about the third match that I
Next
might
up
like.
on the list is match number 4, Mini Moon versus the muscle of the patron saint of professional wrestling, Terrell Kenneth. Vinny Moon is a guy that is a high-flying wrestler who really loves to defy gravity. He jumps out of the ring to tackle his seconds, which were Mikey Everynight and Steve Gange
Okay.
in this match. Unfortunately, the forces of gravity are not on Vinny Moon's side, as they have collected an avatar, Terrell Kenneth, to destroy him.
Oh my god, he is huge.
Yes. He is huge, he is intimidating, and he is one of those nice, bright talents that you see in professional wrestling. Both of these guys are. Most of these guys on this card are. You know, the sky's the limit for these young guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenneth is just this big, bruising monster heel that just destroys everything. That's his catchphrase.
Yeah, because as I'm going with this, I'm also trying to look into the whole wrestlers that Fizz is giving out, and my goodness, Tara Kenneth's whole gimmick is destroy everything. And I do love his vest in the back where it's a skull and crossbones and an iron fist on it. What? Like what? That is so cool. I don't know. I do want it. Although the Japanese up. Sure, I can accept that. But yeah, it looks kind of like mine. And poor Vinny Moon. I think this is not just David and Goliath. This is just what Godzilla meets Godzilla meets human being.
Godzilla meets the self-defense force.
Yes. Let me guess. Terrell Kenneth beat this guy up.
Yes.
Sure. That is so obvious because this guy is built like a cruiserweight. Vinny Moon is built like a cruiserweight, and if you've seen Keith Lee or people who are in the size of Keith Lee, Terrell Kenneth does look like that. And from what I can see, anyways, from my garden, anyway. So.
Yeah, this match was incredibly fun. It was enjoyable, and it was one of the highlights. All these matches were highlights on the opening half of this card, and it just showcases all the hard work that the Buffalo area wrestlers have been doing to improve themselves over the last several years here. And a big part of that, as I said, has been Grapplers Anonymous. They've taken the time to try to improve the scene as a whole, and you can see that their efforts, as well as the promotion's efforts, are starting to pay off.
I mean, I got an interesting idea. Terrell Kenneth's destroy everything, and Braun Strowman's catch these hands. Could it work? I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. We'll just see.
So the last match before intermission was the Homewreckers versus Unstoppable, which is James Saygyra. That's Sayga, and Danny Garcia for the Southern Tier Wrestling Tag Team Championships. The Homewreckers are the champions, and they ended up defeating Unstoppable in a really solid, well-paced, well-done match by these four teams, really trying to prove themselves as some of the best tag teams in the regional area, as well as showcasing their own individual talent. All four of these guys, Anthony Gaines, Jet Rebel, are on the Homewreckers. James Sayringa and Danny Garcia are all four names to watch in the future because they all have really solid fundamentals, which is something you always have to have in professional wrestling. And Garcia, in particular, of the four, he's the youngest. He's 19 years old. He's already getting bookings up in Canada. He's going to be at Smash Wrestling on March 25th for their card. It's going to be really interesting to see him in a larger stage like Smash Wrestling. He debuted for them a few months ago, and now he's going to be back again at their show. This was a really solid match. One weird issue was the fact that the alignments were kind of weird. The homewreckers are typically heels in every other territory and promotion in the area, except here, where they're faces. Whereas Segringa and Garcia are either faces and heels, depending on where they are in the area.
So basically, you're saying that the homewreckers is what? The Bullet Club, Matt and Nick Jackson, STW form.
I would say more along the lines of 1990s ECW tag teams that are just like destroyers.
Okay.
Punks. The kind of people that would beat you up in a dark alley.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Punks and rebels. That's what they are, the homewreckers. And this was a really good match. And again, the thing is with me when it comes to live wrestling, as opposed to, say, wrestling that I see on TV, is that I view it very differently. At a wrestling show in my area, I do a traditional route. I boo the heels, cheer the faces. It's not like where I'm online and I'm going to be talking about how, a certain somebody is a face and a certain somebody is a diabolical villain. It's like, I'm not going to do the things that I normally do in that situation because I want to be professional and I want to help these guys out as best I can with their reactions. Every match and everything that they do on the independent scene is something that they can always study and research on. Why was I getting this reaction? What are the fans doing in this situation? What moves are they reacting to? It's very important for an independent wrestler that they don't get confused by a crowd as to what their reaction is going to be. You can be that one guy and decide to try and boo the face in that situation instead of booing the heel, but it does not necessarily really help them all that much. And they do react to that rather negatively to a certain extent. Because again, they're looking for data. They're looking for clear, regarded data. And if you do the things like, okay, if a certain person is acting heel, then you boo them. If a certain person is acting face, then you cheer them. Boo the heel and cheer the face. It's a traditional philosophy, but it's a philosophy I adhere to because again, I'm at these shows in person. It's not like I'm behind a computer screen and I can say and do things that I would do, like say boo Johnny Gargano over Tommaso Ciampa.
Okay.
I
mean, isn't that okay? I mean, isn't that supposed to be what we have to reciprocate as a wrestling fan? I mean, just boo the heels and cheer the faces. I mean,
yeah.
No matter what their alignments or no matter what happens on the backstage, they're traditionally faces or heels. They are in betweeners. They are outliers, but naturally you have to you cheer the faces, you boo the heels. I mean, it's and at some point it makes for a simple argument where you cheer the people you like, you boo the people you don't like. I mean, I think that's how people are traditionally going through it now, because you cheer for the people basically I cheer for the people I like, or I boo the people I don't like. I mean, that's the underlying point that they're having on this, in a sense. So yeah. But I mean, that's just about it. I mean, I think in its basis, I think it also depends on where and what you're watching. If you're watching independent wrestling, yeah, naturally you cheer their faces and boo the heels. On a bigger scale or on a bigger company, I think in arguments, not just WWE, probably AAA, NJPW, CMLL, etc., so on and so forth, you're still going to have to think, okay, I don't like this guy. Do I really don't like this guy because of what he did, or do I dislike this guy because he's a heel?
I feel that unless the person has done something morally egregious, I think that's the only reason that you should either be booing that individual if they're a face, or not giving them any reaction whatsoever, which is the most effective way to do that, because it showcases the promotion. We are not happy with what you're doing in this situation. We might not come back for the next show.
Yeah, and I can agree to a certain point because these guys are still young. Yeah, like you said, these guys are still young. These guys are still learning things. If we immediately boo them because we don't like them, not because of what they're doing in ring or something like that, just because we don't like we don't like seeing them, it doesn't really help with their development, especially in independent wrestling promotions like this one.
So that we now come to my favorite part of every wrestling show, which is intermission.
Okay.
This is the first time I've actually gone to a wrestling show by myself because my parents were both suffering from the flu.
Okay.
So what they did is, well, my mom dropped me off at the show. It was pouring rain and sleet. There was black ice outside, and there was actually a really good attendance at this show, considering that there was black ice outside.
Okay.
People really wanted to go to wrestling this week. And also, the usual suspects of people from Upstate Pro Wrestling up in Rochester weren't at this show because they were doing their own show that very weekend.
Okay.
So it was just the Buffalo guys as well as the local Chautauqua County guys.
Okay.
So intermission hits, and what I do is I observe the wrestling tables. I thank the wrestlers that had their matches earlier on in the show. I go to the concession stand, which is in a different room upstairs. It's in the cafeteria area. Pick up a soda, and then I decide what wrestling shirt I'm going to buy.
Okay.
And Garcia is out with a shoebox with his tag team partner, and they're going out to the crowd, and they're asking, "Do you want to buy a shirt? Want to buy a shirt?" And it's like, okay, if a guy's going out there with a shoebox, because the merch tables were full. That's why Danny was not out on the merch tables, because the merch tables were full. Everybody was there. Every wrestler was there, because there's like 4 merch tables.
Okay.
One of them is being occupied by a raffle prizes.
Okay.
You've got 1, 2, 3 tables being occupied. You've got the Legends wrestlers in the middle. You've got Vinny Moon in the middle, selling 8x10s. And then you have another Legends wrestler on the other side selling his shirts. And basically, there was very little room for anybody to sell merchandise. So Garcia and Syringa are out in the crowd. They're thanking people for the match, and they're buying. I'm like, sure, go, let's go. You have that? And I go over to Garcia and I go, you got that in an XL?
Oh, okay.
Because I usually buy larger XL shirts because they shrink in the wash. And, bought a t-shirt from him. I was very thankful about the match that he had because all 4 people in this match were really good. And, he's 19 years old. He's going places. He's a really solid wrestler. He's been really well trained by, everybody up there in Buffalo. Everybody's trying to help everybody else because, in this pro wrestling revival, a lot of the regional areas that have been previously weakened by the downturn in wrestling that happened in the 1990s and 2000s. I know people say wrestling had an all-time high, but that was for the major promotions. Smaller promotions had a lot of problems in the 90s and 2000s. Those regional promotions are just now starting to get back on their feet or have gotten back on their feet for about 5 to 10 years now.
Okay. Is Garcia being scouted or anything of the sorts?
He's now going to be he's going to be in Smash Wrestling, which is a good upper tier Canadian wrestling independent promotion.
Okay, that's good. He's going places then.
That has an IPTV thing, and I'm not sure if they have a TV deal or not, but that promotion up in Canada is going places. And now he's on their roster. He's going to be having a singles match on March 25th.
That's awesome. Good for him. He's moving up. He's slowly moving up, but surely.
So after intermission and after my T-shirt had been bought, I love buying T-shirts from professional wrestlers because the thing I noticed about my wardrobe was every single wrestling shirt that I bought in the last year plus has come from an independent wrestler.
Well, and that's interesting, yeah.
I like, you know, if you do good things and you pass that character alignment test that I do for every wrestler, I always do a character alignment check. You know, if you're a good person, a good character, then you're probably going to have $20 in your pocket, and you're going to have one less shirt that you have to carry around in a shoebox that you have to take back home.
Okay.
So, anyway, our next match after the intermission was Invincible Vince Valor, Kevin Bennett, and Mike Skyros versus the Divine Alliance with John Kennedy.
Divine Alliance with Johnny Kennedy. Okay. Who's the Divine Alliance again for these three guys?
The Divine Alliance is Frankie Fevers, Johnny Puma, and the Caesar. Now, the Caesar is not a Roman legionnaire. He's basically a guy that would not be out of place in a 1970s, 80s rock band.
So mullet hair, bandana, rock shirt, something like that?
More like face paint and kind of looking like a cross between one of the band members of Kiss and the Joker.
I knew that would come out.
Also 70s, 80s Zubaz pants.
Oh, God. Oh.
Everyone on the team wears Zubaz pants with the little frilly stripes on with the little frills on the side.
Oh. What are they trying to do?
And then John Kennedy, the manager, is different look. He's got this this red jacket with chinos with the words "You are a bum" written on the back of his jacket. And he's your typical 1970s heel manager.
Okay.
And this is the first match where the babyfaces won because the Divine Alliance has not had a win in 2017.
Ooh, that's a long time.
So
are the Divine Alliance the the undercard or just the comedic undercard tag team? I think.
They are an undercard tag team.
Okay. So that's why.
They were the first tag team champions, but then they lost the belt to the Homeworkers.
And then lost ever since. Okay. Ever since 2017. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. Go on.
Okay. So this match was basically just a random 6-person tag between these individuals. Valor, Skyros, and Bennett just did a lot of really nice high-flying moves. Valor brought the power. He was the largest individual of the three, being able to powerbomb several members of the Divine Alliance. Fevers and Puma had some missing communication issues, and Fevers accidentally kicked Johnny Puma in the face. Johnny Puma had an amazingly good match. The guy is primarily known as a tag team specialist and has been wrestling since 2001. Fevers, kind of same deal. He's also been a tag specialist. Caesar's a bit of an unknown. He's a bit newer compared to the other two, but each of the three fit along nicely and did their roles as best they could in the return match, basically after everybody's done with intermission. And then we have manager John Kennedy, who's barking orders and basically trying to navigate his tag team to, win the match.
Okay. I kind of sort of, I'm just looking around. I kind of sort of do get a little bit of an MMA vibe on Vince Valor. He does. He is a big guy. He's a big guy. And I like his look. If I was a wrestling booker, I like his look. I want to book him more. So yeah.
All three guys on the babyface side of the team are really solid professional wrestlers. They're really good at what they do. Kevin Bennett is one of the best high flyers, and that's because of the fact that there's a photo of him from the Frewsburg show that I attended back in June where he's jumping from the top rope and his feet brush along the side of the circus tent that they're performing in.
Oh God! Okay.
He's primarily a Canadian wrestler, and he usually is upstate and working for Smash Wrestling. He's a babyface here, where in Smash, I believe he's a heel. Skyros is a regional wrestler who wrestles in the Brockport, New York area, which is close to Buffalo. I believe he's their regional champion for the promotion that is up there. All three of these guys, really solid wrestlers. The Divine Alliance did their part, really solid wrestlers. Everything worked together as best it could, and then we got to the finish. After some dives that occur, the Divine Alliance loses the match. Puma gets pinned. I believe it was Puma that got pinned. And everybody's looking over at Frankie. It was either Puma or Fevers. And the Divine Alliance basically says, okay, well, we're going to start off the new year right. And, they do a traditional babyface hug. And then they promptly super kick Frankie Fevers' face off.
Ouch. Okay.
Caesar and Puma are not pleased of Frankie's failure. Even though Puma was the one, I believe, who lost the match in that instance.
I see, okay.
So now Frankie Fevers is off on a conquest of vengeance against the Divine Alliance, his now former associates, and we continue the story of the Divine Alliance eventually breaking down at some point.
Okay.
So, very interesting story direction. Frankie Fevers as a babyface is going to be really interesting to see. I heard he was a very good babyface up in ESW, but we'll see where this goes.
Perfect.
Next up on the list is match number 7. We have Kevin Blackwood, who is a guy who's a tattooist. He does tattoos.
Oh, okay. Is that his gimmick, or is this what?
That's no gimmick. It's actually his real life occupation. Is actually he does tattoos.
Oh, okay.
So he also is a professional wrestler. He's another young and up-and-coming talent that is getting looked at from both Smash and from Destiny Wrestling in Maine.
Interesting.
So he had to face against something, usually he is the evilest person in any ring because he's, dark, brooding individual. He had to face against the disco dancing daredevil that is Puff.
Oh, wait. You kidding me, right?
If you know those stunt driver daredevil motorcycle guys from the 70s, with the full body suit and they dance.
Yeah.
That they go on the mini bike and they launch themselves off of a ramp over a car. Well, Puff has that look.
So he's the evil Knievel of wrestling.
Basically.
But I'm more surprised that his name is just Puff.
Yeah.
Are you just Puff, I think?
Yeah.
Is it Puff? Okay, correct.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
The hell is that name?
He refers to himself as a god on his Twitter handle, so Puff is God.
Puff is God? I can't wrap my head. Where? Puff is God. I can't make those 10 steps of leaps of faith. I can't. Where the hell did that come from?
He's really good at dancing, and he's really good at interacting with a crowd. I'm just looking over, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's really good at crowd interactions. He had the crowd. This is the first time he's down here in Southern Tier Wrestling, and he has the crowd literally eating out of the palm of his hand.
Okay, because the image right now in my head is a guy who's wearing a full bodysuit who looks like a 70s stunt man or stunt person, without the helmet. He does disco dancing.
Yes, with disco theme music.
With disco theme music, again in around 60s or 70s, like that.
Yeah,
and the redeeming quality of his is just he has just one word for his name, Puff. Yeah, it spells with 3 letters. The hell is that kind of character coming in?
Oh, you have to just see it in person just to go wow, this guy's good.
Okay, I'll definitely try and find some work, some clip or manner of itemization that is working. Okay, so there's that. Wait a minute. So, okay. I just saw him now. I just saw a photo of him. Okay. Now I get it, I think. I don't want to say that it's too obvious, but okay. I mean, he's dressed in what? Blue and pink jumpsuit?
Yeah.
With stars?
Yeah.
In the middle, what seems to be a donut? I think that's the idea. He's the cream puff donut.
He's a disc. Well, I view him as a disco dancing daredevil because he actually did a dive from the outside of the ring.
Oh, okay.
Guy that size doing a light dive outside the ring.
Okay. okay, the gimmicks are getting weirder and weirder. But okay, I'm not decrying this gimmick. I just okay, this is interesting. It is interesting.
From what I've heard and from what I've seen, there are two rules when it comes to Grapplers Anonymous. Get yourself over and work safe. Those are the two rules that they seem to instill upon their students. Whatever else, you have a gimmick, it works, it gets the crowd over with you, is either a face or heel, go do that. And Puff has embraced that fully, and it's just a wonder to watch. And he won the match with a splash, understandably. And Blackwood is going to have to big tape up his ribs a little bit. So this was an enjoyable, wonderful match. Like, you may have, like, most wrestling shows you often hear about, or wrestling podcasts you hear about a person talking negatively about a show. This show was just pure fun. This, after dealing with the doldrums of WWE and the shows making people go completely insane, I should know. I've been in a hangout with a few of those people. Local regional wrestling is what's kept me in wrestling. Watching these fun, enjoyable shows in front of a crowd of people, a bunch of hardworking professional wrestlers who really care about the work that they do. It has kept me. It's like kept me in this game of professional wrestling. Go to a regional wrestling show. If the people are good there, go to that show. Check, do the proper checks that you need to. Make sure that the event and venue is safe if you're bringing children and family along. It's an independent wrestling show is a wonderful experience, and this was just and we're now down to the last two matches. So who's ready for a Tito Santana match?
Yeah. Remind me, how old is Tito Santana again?
64.
Okay. Who's he wrestling against?
He wrestles in this next match against the Reinforcer, Andrew Anderson.
Wait, the Reinforcer?
Yep.
What's he reinforcing?
He's a big guy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's Reinforcer Andrew Anderson. I saw him on one of the very first independent shows I watched back in 2013. It was in November. It was one of Roddy Piper's last 10 independent wrestling appearances before his death. And
before I check, is he any relation to Ole and Arn Anderson, or just the Anderson brothers?
I don't think it is. I think it's just, I just think he just picked the name Anderson.
Okay.
And he had a spectacular match against Tatanka a few years ago where he decides to go to the top rope, and like a bird and like a person and like a refrigerator with wings, he flies across the ring and attempts to do a diving leg drop. Tatanka, with his eyes as big as dinner plates, ducks out of the way, rolls out of the way, and Anderson ends up going to the other side of the ring, crashes down, and almost hits his knee on the turnbuckle.
Oh, way to talk about crashing and burning. That's just crashing and burning and then bumping into a ladder and going under it and then falling off the staircase.
Thankfully, he didn't have to do that here.
Thankfully.
So here's the things that happened. This was a very psychology-heavy match, of course, because both individuals are a bit older. Anderson's in his 40s, Santana's 64. I'm not expecting miracle work from the older guys, but in this situation, these two individuals did the best that they could do with their advancing age and had a really spectacular, enjoyable match that was reacted to by the crowd. The face got cheered, the heel got booed. Everybody liked to see Santana in the ring. Heck, Santana even took a bump. Didn't have to, but he took a bump anyway. He took a back bump. It was an enjoyable, fun match, and a lot of people who had their kids in the audience, this is the match they wanted to see. They wanted to see the legend wrestler triumph over the forces of evil. And that's exactly what happened here.
I can dig that. I can accept that. I can accept that with my mind anyway. Yeah.
Now, afterwards, a few of the families decided to head home a little bit early before the last match. Now, understandably so, because of the fact it was sleeting outside, there's snow, there's black ice. Get the kids home safely. A lot of the kids were tired after having about ingested the entire mountain whiffs of Mount Fuji in sugar.
I mean, as much as I'd say, as much as well, you want to really watch a wrestling match sometimes. Well, sometimes sometimes your safety is always the first thing that's coming up.
Exactly, that's my philosophy when it comes to wrestling shows. If the weather looks really bad, like for instance, I actually skipped out on the Big Trouble in Little Celeron show because, well, my area had an issue with tornadoes in the summer, as well as the fact that I had to fix my roof.
That sucks. That really sucks, though. Yeah.
So we have our last match, and this one, well, I'm sorry to those who missed it, but this match was amazing. Normally, the top card match is a great match surrounded by a bunch of other great matches. This match was an amazing match on this card.
Oh, okay.
So here are the two participants. First, we have STW Heavyweight Champion Big Time Bill Collier.
Okay.
Versus the patron saint of professional wrestling, Brandon Thurston.
Patron saint, is he in... Wait, he's doing both things again?
Yeah, he's the leader of the patron saints of professional wrestling down here. Now,
okay.
Technically, in the other promotions, the patron saints are having their breakup angle. Down here in STW, the patron saints are still active.
Okay.
So, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Thurston. Now, when he's not being a completely evil individual by ripping people's arms off with a cross arm breaker, Mr. Thurston also does podcasting. He does WrestleNomics Radio with Chris Harrington, aka Mookie Aganya. They've had a rough couple of weeks due to a passing in Chris's family, so please go support WrestleNomics Radio if you can. They also have a Patreon page available for those of you who are interested in donating $5 to WrestleNomics Radio. The Patreon is available. Normally, I don't typically promote Patreons, but in this particular case, these two provide such great content, and since I'm not able to donate at this point because it's tax season, I'm kind of having to deal with that right now. I'm going to give off my support and thanks to these two individuals for providing something that most wrestling podcasts do not provide, which is analyzing the analytical and economic nature of professional wrestling promotions, the deals, the statistics, the analytics of professional wrestling from the financial perspective. For people who are interested in finances or people who are interested in wrestling, WrestleNomics Radio is your best source for wondering what the heck this world of professional wrestling is. Told from two extremely intelligent individuals who know what the heck they're talking about because they've got the massive amounts of paperwork, graph sheets, and Microsoft Office documents to prove it. Tune into WrestleNomics Radio every weekend or so. They post their episodes on Sundays with bonus content audio episodes being available to the Patreons about a day or so after the show. You can follow them at WrestleNomics Radio. You can also follow them individually at, let's see here. Do I have my Twitter app up? Yes, I do. Good. The two wrestling people who do this podcast are Chris Harrington, a.k.a. at Mookie Aganya, and Brandon Howard Thurston at, I believe, Brandon Thurston. Also, Brandon Thurston does professional wrestling writing for several different wrestling websites. His articles are always fascinating and very interesting to see. And he's also one of several trainers over at Grapplers Anonymous Pro Wrestling Academy at the area in Lackawanna, New York, that I mentioned previously. Also, this is just me doing... also, none of these people asked me to do this plug. I did it of my own volition. Because I'm me. I'm the random wandering Ronin who likes really supporting people who are doing good things. So anyway, Brandon Thurston, the analytical statistics guy, really good person. Brandon Thurston, the wrestler, complete psycho.
Right.
He leads his band of psychotic merry band of patron saints of professional wrestling to the ring. You imagine all those guys who are like really traditional old school wrestlers who are like tradition and technician and technique shall be worshipped. That's Thurston's character.
Okay. So
he truly believes he is the best wrestler in the area.
So all wrestling, just all power and wrestling and technique and all that. Okay. Kind of sort of like your catch wrestling, the British strong style of wrestling or anything. Yeah. Or the revival if you are following WWE. So, okay.
Yeah. This main event match was amazing. Thurston is a humongous fan of the wrestler Toshiaki Kadiwara, one of the 4 pillars of heaven in All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
He incorporated his kicks into this match. He's incorporated his limb work into his style of wrestling. He is a humongous fan of Japanese wrestling, and it showcases in his style. Bill Collier is your typical big guy wrestler who is incredibly charismatic with the crowd. Now, once again, an unusual step. Collier is usually a heel in most promotions. Here he's a babyface. And he is a wonderful working class wrestler champion for this promotion. He connects with the crowd. He connects with the audience. He had a great match against Rico Cruz on the last show. He always delivers in the main event. And this was no exception. These 2 experienced wrestlers who have faced against one another before delivered an amazing, stellar main event that sent the crowd home happy. Collier defeated Thurston, but I don't think that this rivalry is over just yet. These 2 put on an amazing, phenomenal performance that just was so wonderful to see. Really good professional wrestling. Heck, Collier, who is about 6'2", 6'3", about 285, and that's muscle, proceeded to crash into Terrell Kenneth doing a dive.
Ouch. Okay. Okay.
It was like a human missile of muscle going through the middle rope and hitting Terrell.
Ow. Okay. Okay. Did that have any effect? Because, well, from what we know, that Kenneth is actually really huge.
Yeah. Well, it knocked him out of the match. Knocked him out of the match. Whereas, Thurston relies on his cronies to gain an advantage in his matches so that he could get the cross arm breaker on people and, well, remove their arms.
Okay. Yeah. Of course.
He is a wonderful, diabolical regional wrestler who just like every region in pro wrestling has a distinct, different flavor. This is angry Buffalo guy wanting to prove to the rest of the world that Buffalo wrestling is truly the best place for all of wrestling. and
okay, go on.
And they're doing and out of kayfabe, they are doing just that. They are doing a fantastic job thus far of really improving the scene in Buffalo. And whenever somebody does something really good for the good of everybody else, most times I'm not necessarily a fan of the group dynamic. Here I'm fine with it because it's regimented, it's organized, and all they want to do is just improve and give more opportunities for wrestlers in this region to do professional wrestling, something that they enjoy, something that they love, something that they have a passion for. And Southern Tier Wrestling's first show of 2018 was a really good show. I'm excited to see what they have planned for the spring and summer. Let's see what they have going forward. This is the 3rd Southern Tier Wrestling show I've reviewed on the Wacky World of Wrestling, and each show I've come away with going, each show has gotten better.
Okay. That's
talent, good. The talent is getting better. Everything is just starting to really click, because they need a Southern regional base that's not just the Buffalo promotions. You have an area, you have an untapped area here in Chautauqua County full of people who really like wrestling. They just need to hear about it. And miracle of miracles, the paper actually posted an article 5 days before the event was scheduled.
Okay.
They don't normally do that. Usually they wait until after the event happened and then talk about it.
Yeah, okay. Understandable, yeah. If that's their method of business or method of how they wanted to work with, yeah, they could stick to that.
So, Southern Tier Wrestling, fantastic experience. Overall, really good show. So, I guess next up, Senju, you had some thoughts on Fastlane. Now, we're not going to cover all thoughts on Fastlane because we're saving that for Shooting the Breeze for you Shooting the Breeze. But you have some thoughts on that, right?
Yeah. I mean, just to cut things a little bit short, there's a few pointers that I could say because I think people generally like it. The whole thing. My expectation was lowered on the whole show, and I don't expect much. But like I said last week on my show, I'd say that the only thing I'm looking forward to going out from Fastlane is that all the match cards are are finally getting filled up, and all the storylines for SmackDown is moving on its merry path. it's slow as molasses as heck, but that's what I expect out of WWE and out of SmackDown Live, who's treading water with their storylines. But hey, generally speaking, I like the whole thing. I like the whole experience. I mean, the whole point, the whole one of the more interesting highlights was that WWE. I think I'd say that WWE has swerved us all with Asuka coming into SmackDown Live and actually challenging Charlotte for the WWE Women's title on SmackDown on WrestleMania. Um, Arguably, people say that it would be the best moment of the entire night because people are expecting that Asuka would stay on Raw and fight Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. So, and I don't know about you, Fizz. Have you watched Fastlane or you caught the highlights at least?
I caught some of the highlights of Fastlane at this point. I thought it was a really enjoyable card. I thought it was a really enjoyable show overall because thing is that every time you have a down pay-per-view, I always say that show looks like it's going to be a pretty decent show to be on. And watching the bits and pieces of the show and seeing the clips, for instance, the fantastic photo of Charlotte screaming at the top of her lungs while Asuka points at the sign.
Well, that's always strange. Her yelling, her screaming, and Asuka looking in glee and pointing. Of course, you're gonna have the finger pointing moment to the WrestleMania sign as always. She is the only one who didn't actually solidly do it. So you got that. I mean, in comparison, did the whole Ruby Riott Charlotte photo is better than this one?
I think they're both about the same. I mean, especially because you can interpret it as, I made an arts and craft project out of some rags I found. My robe collection. So do you like it?
I think that would be Asuka and Charlotte, I think.
I mean, I think if you added Bobby into the mix and Asuka making an arts and crafts project out of Charlotte and Bobby's robes.
Oh God! Mommy, Daddy, look! I did something new.
I mean, because like somebody pointed out on the Twitter that that Asuka's robe basically looks like pieces of clothing from the victims from her past victims. So it's like.
Hey, that would be interesting. I mean, you have a piece of Naomi here, and then a piece of Becky here, and then a piece of Sasha here, Bailey. I mean, if it would have been a patchwork of all the enemies and all the wrestlers that she had faced and defeated, that would be an interesting robe to wear. For only her, just her, not anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that this card was going to be a solid card, and the aftermath of the card was even more solid. I was wondering when Jay McMahon was doing his announcement on SmackDown why I was hearing the Jaws theme in the back of my head. And then found out why.
Yeah, automatically you found out why. Because telling let's cut on a small segue to SmackDown. Telling the crowd I'm retiring I'm stepping down as general manager is just a prelude to a bad scene that's gonna come up, and sure enough it did. Sure enough it did. I think it's obvious as to who, because it did. I mean, back to Fastlane. I mean, he had it coming. He did a lot of main event antics backstage, eating popcorn, meddling in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's business. There's a lot of things that happened. Basically, Shane McMahon is trying to jump the shark, but I think he didn't just jump the shark. He jumped the shark and jumped the boat that was supposed to chase the shark. So this is what you get. This is what happens
when you don't let Shane jump off the roller coaster set at WrestleMania last year.
I think we already argued that a lot of times already. This is what happens when you don't give Shane McMahon the chance to jump, jump something high. I want to jump something high. Damn it! No, damn it! I'm not giving you the chance.
No, Shane, we're not allowing you to use the roller coaster to run over AJ. Even though he's a foreign talent, we're using him as a draw right now. God dang it.
but that door, shut up. I mean, okay. It's. I mean, he has it coming. Going out from it, I don't know whether I could see the whole triple threat thing. It's either people are saying that it's a triple threat. Some people are saying that no, Shane McMahon will have to find a partner just to fight off against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. We'll see about that. I mean, at least it's starting off somewhere. And again, we had to have a McMahon in the show, but hey, one isn't enough with the whole Stephanie McMahon coming in. We need Shane on it too. Heck, if we wanted to, we could put Vince, but now WrestleMania is kind of like Vince's baby, so technically he is there. So
the celebrity show with the swamp.
Oh yeah, it's in New Orleans. I forgot about it. Yeah. Okay. And of course, one of the biggest one. That was one. Charlotte, the whole thing. The Charlotte and Asuka. I mean, that was a surprise. I like the whole thing. I like the whole thing that where the tag team champions, where the Usos and New Day were fighting, it went straight to a no contest where your big mean men with huge ass beards and huge ass hammers to boot kicked both teams down to the ground and basically did a lot of damage with the hammers. I mean,
well, basically what you're saying is that they attempted to make Xavier Woods into a piñata. And then they tried to make one of the Usos into a piñata.
Well, one of the Usos were trying to be turned to a piñata. The other was trying to be turned to a pancake. So there is that. I would definitely say that. I mean, and of course, the last point would be the whole 6-pack challenge. I mean, it's I am before going in, and of course, Raw happened, and I'll save my thoughts on Raw for next week. Going into it, I was looking forward to WWE actually not giving Cena the win for the 6-pack challenge. I mean, of course, the whole storyline with the whole Cena saying that Cena not going to WrestleMania is not, to him, it's like death or whatever it is. He's doing this melodramatic, melancholic eulogy about how Cena missing WrestleMania is going to be the death knell of Cena. And suddenly Raw comes in and it throws that out of the window. But going out from it, I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is new. John Cena and WWE actually sticking to its guns and not giving John Cena the win. I would have liked if John Cena got the pin. Took the pin, not got the pin, took the pin. But okay. And of course, I think they even realized that not even them would have dropped the ball on this one, because AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura is the match card that is going to print the most money out of them. I mean, they already have Roman's golden path to WrestleMania down pat.
Our beloved Roman Reigns, ladies and gentlemen, unifying all wonderful fan bases amongst us.
And somehow he got suspended by one Vince's Caesarus.
So, that is no trouble for our beloved Roman Reigns, conqueror of the lands of Olympus, slayer of Janus Caesar, of Olympus, and parading his head around the streets of Rome. Destroyer of the Undertaker at the last WrestleMania. Sorry, Taker, have to bring that up again. I know you're listening on air, Bold Man, but I had to bring that up again with a little Taker getting hit by a bazooka by Roman Reigns last WrestleMania.
You know he's gonna cry. Anyway. I digress. They're not gonna screw. WWE isn't going to screw their money card, by dicking out on Styles versus Nakamura. They're not gonna do that. So, in a sense, I think this one was actually the surprise, and of course, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles versus the artist, or fine, the artist Shinsuke Nakamura is the only option for SmackDown's WWE Championship. So, overall, I enjoyed it. Again, my expectations were lowered. I think that was why I enjoyed it. And of course, I'm following up on your point. Uh, if the pay per view for a down card is going to be a little bit decent, because they're trying to cool you down before getting you onto the trains leading up to WrestleMania, okay, it should be a decent show. You just have to lower your expectations and just, especially in the time where SmackDown Live still hasn't really put, prior to this, SmackDown hasn't really put down a solid storyline leading up to WrestleMania. Coming out from it, I already see that, okay, this is interesting. So yeah. So overall, I liked it.
I think Brian James saw Hunter was outside digging a shallow grave and just decided, you know what? I need to start getting some of my good ideas together.
Yes. I think
it's either me getting sacrificed in that hole or an intern. And I'd rather it be the intern.
And of course, yeah, the intern bites the dust. I'm sorry, intern. We'll take you out someday. Where are you? I think the argument people are saying is just that they wanted to. They thought that Asuka wanted to go to fight against Charlotte, but now no, Asuka is going. Asuka's fighting against Alexa Bliss, but no, Asuka's fighting against Charlotte, and I think that's the cry of everything. I mean,
whenever I saw any of those arguments, I thought to myself, oh my god, are you going to go like a rampaging samurai? Because I believe this is the 975th time that you've heard this argument. Who's going where? It's like a mahjong table with all the pieces being strung about because there's been a drunken brawl between the two participants.
I mean, yeah, you told me that. I mean, I'm close, not quite. I'm close, not quite. I do have a Japanese katana lying somewhere, even though it's a plastic mock-up for cosplay purposes, but it's still a Japanese katana. I can switch it around, whacking people on the head. I can treat it like
or just chuck a Gunpei model at them.
Right, just chuck it. Those things are sharp, you know. Those pointy things are sharp, especially the high grades and the master grades. I mean, if you guys don't know what a high grade and master grade is, or 1 to 144 scale and 1 to 60 scale, those things are big, and you don't see perfect grades either. Those ones are 1 to 40, and those ones are very heavy to throw. But
personally for me, I thought Fastlane was a solid show, but I'm loving this WrestleMania card, and it's weird for me because I typically tend to dislike the celebrity show.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know you told me last year that last year's WrestleMania it's just a celebrity spot for, it's like you said, it's Vince's time to roll out the red carpets, do what Vince does best, and just milk the show with a lot of money. So
indulge the show with the higher class celebrity people who really do not like his guts, but they have to support this because this show makes a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
While Vince goes collecting pieces of their individual hair and puts them into voodoo dolls. Because we are in New Orleans after all, man. The voodoo is very strong, man.
The voodoo is strong indeed. I mean,
unfortunately, all the dolls involving The Miz have been sold out. I'm not sure who, but I think a buyer somewhere in the New England area has bought them all.
I think so.
Yeah, so also a couple from New York, but then again, that's because I've been in an echo chamber for 8 months with The Miz being, The Miz is awesome, The Miz is awesome, The Miz is awesome. It's making me go sane. And of course, I'm being stuck in a position where I have to talk about the Intercontinental Championship match. Originally, we thought The Miz would be horribly destroyed by Braun Strowman in a rare instance of where I actually like someone who I've not exactly been particularly favored of, which would be Captain Car Crash.
Yeah.
Big Car Crash, I mean.
Okay.
So instead, Miz gets stuck with Finny McBrogue and Captain Crash and Burn, Seth Rollins.
Well,
you want to know what my ideal version of hell is? It's this match.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I know. You're one of the guys who don't really like Finn Balor. Now I remember that. There you go.
I mean, the guy goes out and cosplays as Jack the Ripper, a legitimate serial killer from London on the NXT Takeover London show, And I go, does this guy know what he's doing?
I think he does.
I know.
Think he does.
I think he's gotten away from the whole, let's not cosplay as real-life serial killer who killed women, okay?
Okay. I think the point has been taken. Okay. I understand that.
And then we have Seth Rollins. You put Rollins in a match with Finn.
Do I smell disaster coming? I smell Rollins getting it?
I mean, and then you also have to factor in Miz's bad luck at WrestleMania.
Oh, well, I think he has to make a really, really big decision and a really, really hard decision. If his wife is delivering a baby right at the eve of WrestleMania, he's gonna, do I go to WrestleMania or do I go see my wife give birth? I'm pretty sure I don't know which one to pick. Which is the more exciting one?
I mean, regardless, for us non-Miz fans, if Miz shows up at WrestleMania and does a 5-minute match, I think for some of us it will be a complete miracle. For others, it may be a complete horror because everybody seems to have really latched on to the Miz, even though he's a backup quarterback, basically.
Yeah, basically. But credit goes to him for being a backup quarterback that surprisingly stepped up to the plate all of a sudden. Surprisingly stepped up to the plate and just okay, this is my spot now. And then suddenly the whole, our regular quarterbacks are now in, and no, I don't want to go back. Please don't make me go back in there. Please don't make me go back in there. I don't want to go into the closet again, Mom.
So, we have Miz in the Intercontinental Championship match. I mean, either what's going to happen is either the match is going to go off smoothly, or Miz is going to end up in a full body cast right next to his soon-to-be-giving birth wife.
Yeah, he has a hard task to pick out.
Anyway.
What do you think about Ronda Rousey, though?
Punch?
Punch. Okay.
Honestly, I really don't care either way about Rousey at this point. Just like, Punch is gonna punch things. She smashed Triple H for a table. She Samoa dropped Stephanie. Admittedly, I think it was a botched Samoa drop, but she's tagging with Kurt Angle, who is having the worst month possible for any Raw GM at this point. Getting sucker punched in the face by Triple H. Having his entire face be basically memed by the entire internet wrestling community. I stared only into the darkness.
I don't think he realizes it. I don't think he realizes that he's doing it.
Oh God, I got punched.
Oh God, I got punched. Oh God, the punch is coming right at me right now. What did I do to deserve this, God? Something like that.
Oh, and Miz is not the Nick Foles of WWE. That's kind of an insult to him, Taker. I'm thinking more along the lines of quarterbacks like Frank Reich, Tommy Maddox. Let me think here. Caleb, what was his name? Holmgren, I think it was, a backup quarterback for the Bears. Oh, yes. Todd Johnson. Todd Johnson, a name that is sure to quake horror in the words of Bears fans or any other football team that had him on his roster, including the Buffalo Bills, who had him on their roster in 97. He was actually a fairly decent quarterback, but regardless. Anyway, so Braun has ended up in purgatory.
Somehow
has ended up in purgatory, and now he's ended up in the tag team division, and they're possibly going to pick Elias as his partner, and Braun will likely decimate the entire tag team division.
Fun? Really fun? Yeah.
Fun. Yes, fun.
Everything Strowman everything Strowman does is fun.
I mean, is the match going to go 5 minutes?
Probably. You'd expect. I don't mind if a Braun Strowman match goes about 10 or even 7 minutes, or maybe even 10. But if it goes 5 minutes, I'll be fine because, well, that just shows that they're trying to build him up again at the expense of the tag team division on Raw. Which is a sad notion in and of itself, but hey, if it makes Braun Strowman strong, then go ahead.
And as far as the Rousey match, or punch match as I'm calling it at this point, it's the celebrity match. They always have a celebrity match every year or so. or every 2 years or so. This year is that there's that celebrity match. It's just that Ronda's under contract.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that, everybody is expected. I don't think that this Ronda thing is necessarily going to work out to what WWE is expecting it to be. But hey, it will be a disastrous train wreck, which, is kind of befitting of the Raw Women's Division. We're not going to even get to this week's bad topic of Donner Partyism because I'm just going to call it the Andrea the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, and I'm just going to leave it at that because everybody else has made their homicidal peace that week. And besides, you guys are going to probably have to be ranting about that on Shooting the Breeze. I'm just going to call it the fictional Andrea the Giant Battle Royale, not even mention anything about F. Moolah. And basically go on from there because WWE is looking for a reaction from us because they know full well that this is a controversial angle. This is a controversial thing. They are trying to get X-Pac heat, negative heat off of the Ronda match. So they're going to go with the next best thing and go from a wrestler in the past who's had a lot of very, very damning allegations about her in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
So we go from there. And then, of course, we have the great unifier of the very fan bases. The Dude Bros and the Roman Reigns fans are agreeing on something for once.
Wait, they are?
Yes! They both hate Brock Lesnar with an apocalyptic rage of 10,000 suns, so naturally they're going to bond together out of shared unity and hatred of one Mr. Part-Timer, Brock Lesnar, and they're going to support the beloved Roman Reigns. Beloved by all.
Funny how that works now, huh? Doesn't it?
And now I'm going to be skewered to death by Roman Reigns fans because I decided to say the one thing that most people haven't said yet.
Which is?
Comparing them with the Dude Bros.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
The Dude Bros and the other stands.
The other stands, not that stand. The other one. Don't look there. I mean, Fizz, I think the best that we could do at the current moment is just sit back and enjoy the whole train ride to hell, I think.
Well, the last several months in professional wrestling have been a train ride of hell because, when I took my sabbatical from Wacky World of Wrestling, I did not expect that professional wrestling they were going to do some things wrong.
Yeah.
I did not expect the apocalyptic levels of HE double hockey sticks to come from the professional wrestling community over the past 3 months. Everything from the top promotions to the independent scene decided to have a moment where they were deciding they were going to cosplay as the Sengoku period. Oh, the clans rising up together, the cliques sharpening their swords and their silver tongues and trying to stab each other to pieces.
I agree. Totally agree.
I made a Twitter comparison about the Sengoku period earlier, and really, that's how professional wrestling looks to me right now. A large number of clans led by daimyos who are all looking for the same goal: to conquer all of professional wrestling.
Or all of Japan.
Or all of Japan, basically.
Or all of Japan. Yeah, I mean, the most that we can, like I said, the most that I can do, you can do, I think the most of us, both of us can do. Rather, you just should sit back and enjoy, eat popcorn, watch the world burn. That's all I can do.
I mean, be supportive of the people who are doing legitimately good things in the industry. Like, for instance, WrestleNomics Radio, independent wrestlers who are actually doing the right things instead of doing the wrong things, which is becoming a list of people that is like, about as long as as many as the pages of War and Peace.
Yes. Okay. Anything else, sir?
Well, that's basically it. We'll just have our little final speech here. I usually do at the end of the show. Sure. First, folks, it has been a very long 3 months or so, and this podcast will be the first of several throughout the year. I don't know if I'm going to be doing one next week or the week after, but we'll see where things go from here. This is a new era and a new series of Wacky World of Wrestling. What has happened in the past has happened, and we must move forward to go forward. I'm going to be as professional as possible going forward due to the situation that happened beforehand. 2017 was one of the most emotionally exhausting years that I had in pro wrestling. Many of my friends and many people that I knew, friends and acquaintances that I knew, engaged in a lot of very questionable behavior. Some of them did. And I did my very best in this situation to not get involved for my own health, for my own sanity, and for my own feelings of I felt that this was morally wrong, and I decided I'm not going to take a part in this. A lot of people have said to me in private that they were very thankful that I had did this the way that I did. And going forward, we are going to be moving forward with a new era. We're going to be moving forward with a non-permanent co-host for every show going forward until the end of the year when a permanent co-host is decided. Thank you so much for your support, for your cooperation, and for your professionalism in this case. If you've got any questions or issues or want to scream in my DMs for who knows how long, my DMs are open and available. Wacky World of Wrestling will be on an infrequent schedule of going over the next couple of weeks, but next time out will be our 40th episode of Wacky World of Wrestling. I'd like to thank MDS for joining me on this particular edition of the show. This is very much a test run episode so that we can continue forward and start off the series 2 with a traditional wacky, happy show. After all that's happened in 2017 with emotional drama, backstabbings, and all sorts of random insanity. Wacky World of Wrestling will be covering the antics of WWE, the independents, and our usual segments of the Donner Parties of professional wrestling. I thank you all at this point because I'm being as professional as I personally can. And I thank you all for the support. Also, one thing I forgot to mention at the start of the show, this podcast will not be joining Los Inaugurals Day podcast. Taker had asked me that question on the Golden Bullets Award show, but I kind of left as sort of a non-answer. Because of my personal philosophies in regards to stables, I generally do not like them or openly dislike them. I feel it is in my best interest at this point to be a random crazed Ronin of sorts. A sane Ronin, if you will. And Wacky World of Wrestling will continue to remain semi-independent. There's going to be a couple more announcements of the future of Wacky World of Wrestling coming down the line in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be some changes, some things. Obviously, a non-permanent co-host is one of the big ones, but there might be some other changes coming. Who knows what the future brings? But now WrestleMania season is upon us. Grab our voodoo dolls of our favorite wrestler of choice, and let's see where this goes, because we're now about to enter the insanity of the celebrity show. And folks, we thank you so much for tuning in on this edition of Wacky World of Wrestling Series 2. We thank all of those who have participated in the past. And, well, tell folks where you're at.
Well, they can catch me on Twitter at BeckyGotBank666. They can also catch me on Shooting the Breeze, which is on every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. Did I flip that? Let's just not do anything about it anymore much because I'm really rushing out of time. But anyway, that's just about it. Catch me on Twitter. You can tweet me, DM me, talk, just shoot the breeze, basically. Yeah.
Yep. This has been episode 39 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. A dangerous quiet before the storm. Inspired by a line at the Golden Bullet Awards show said by Curtain Jerker, aka George Saves, of "A quiet fizz is dangerous." I'm not that dangerous unless you provoke me, George. But, regardless, I thought that line was so good, I decided, you know what, let's use it for that show. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. We will see you whenever we see you, and I will likely have another co-host on board for the next show, which will be our 40th episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, folks, and thank you all for understanding during this kind of sort of turbulent time for Wacky World of Wrestling.
Yeah. Thank you, Fizz, for having me.
No problem, man. Have a good day, folks, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.